listening to Wake Up Hollywood with Nikhil Korula and Eddie Pence, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Wake Up Hollywood, this is your host with the most, Nikhil Korula. We're going to jump right into this interview. We have Grammy-nominated blues extraordinaire, Teresa James. How are you, Teresa?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good to see you. So you grew up in Houston, Texas. I didn't know that you were from Houston.
Yep, Texas gal. There you go.
You must be missing Tex-Mex out in Los Angeles because we just don't have the best Tex-Mex.
There's a really great new restaurant, though. Well, it's not that new, but called Home State.
That's our spot. There's one right near us. That's the best.
I've been out here, gosh, I don't want to say decades, and we've just been missing it. And finally, you can get like good queso and breakfast tacos.
Yeah. That's the best. That's what I love about Texas in general. It's just amazing Tex-Mex.
My husband and I are both from Texas, and we've both been living out here forever. And when we head back to Texas, we never say, well, okay, who are we going to call, or where are we going to go? It's always, what are we going to eat first?
So what are your spots? What are your spots in Houston?
Oh man, there's some great ones. Actually, my favorite Tex-Mex is this little tiny hole in the wall called Las Consuelas. And it's like,
I like it already.
I'm sorry. It's La Correta, and okay. It means the wagon. But it's like, you can get the biggest plate on there still for like $6.95.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
No atmosphere, but who cares?
Who cares? We're here for the food. You know what I mean? And today we're here for the music. I was listening to your music. I've always known you were a badass, but my God, you are a musician extraordinaire. I mean, your voice, your piano playing, your writing.
Oh, thanks.
All off the chain. So let's go way back. So your dad was a major influence, was always playing records. Tell me what he was playing in the house. Tell me what that moment of zen was that made you want to be a musician.
You know what? It's just weird. He was, from the time I was born, I remember, he would play, he was really into like singer-songwriter stuff and Dixieland and, blue. He turned me on to Josh White and Lightning Hopkins and Bob Dylan and a bunch of Texas troubadour type songwriters. Of course, I'm going to start blanking here, but tons of just music. He was really all across the board. And as he got older, actually, my husband and I built a house in our backyard and moved him out here after my mom died, and I could always tell if he was doing okay, because he would get up early and just start blasting his music.
That's awesome. He's my tribe. I love it.
It would go on. The first thing he did in the morning was turn his music on, and then the last thing at night. So as long as there was music playing, I thought, okay, I got a minute. I don't have to go check on him. He's doing good. But what really inspired. I don't know, man. I started taking my older brother took piano lessons when I was like 4, and he would practice his piano and then he would get up and go, and then I would sit down and start playing it, and so I started classical piano lessons like super young. But I also learned to play.
What were you learning? Were you learning Bach? Were you learning Mozart? Do you remember what you
Yeah, I remember actually, when I was like 6, when I was really little, my mom got me lessons with this big band leader that had a little studio in our neighborhood, and I was so little, and I remember I would go out there, and he had this big recording studio, and in the middle of it he had a piano, and it was all dark. I just remember it was a little bit scary, but for my recital when I was like 6 years old, I played a huge minuet by Paderewski. You know what I mean? He just like went straight to the good stuff. You know what I mean? So I found that really inspiring, and then my dad taught me to play guitar when I was like 8, and got into like folk music, and so I started having little folk groups in junior high and high school. I don't know, it's just I'll stop me. I just had some coffee, so I'll just keep
No,
talking.
no, no. This is the best. That's what I love. I love when interviews when you do the work for me. That's even better. That makes a great interview. So yeah,
Well,
keep going.
oh gosh, my mom found when she was cleaning up some stuff, she found one of those old things that you practice your handwriting on when you're in first grade,
Right.
and it said, "I love to sing. When I sing, I'm happy." So I mean, and that was at like 6 years
Awesome.
old, So it's just, I just feel really lucky that I discovered what I really, really like to do at such an early age, and that people will keep paying me to do it.
Right. Well,
That's
I
the
mean, the
awesome
classical
thrill.
technique too in your playing, you can tell because it's like you know how to like jam and solo, but your technique is just all there. I
Yeah.
was thinking, when I was hearing you play, just your piano playing, like, do you know Professor Longhair from New Orleans?
He is my big, yeah, he
I
was like,
totally hear that in your playing. I totally
oh,
hear that in
no.
your playing. Yes, it
I
is. It's in your playing without you even knowing it.
Oh, well,
It's
thank
there.
you for doing that. Because that's what I strive towards. You know what I mean? That's
Well,
what.
he's like such a major influence on so many blues musicians and just soul musicians, jazz musicians, everything. So when I heard you just like playing a couple licks, I was like, oh man, I bet she's way into Professor Longhair because I can hear it. I can hear it in the licks.
Absolutely. I just wish I could whistle like he does. Please, man, that's awesome.
Yep, yep. So when did you start writing songs? When did you start
Well,
kind
you
of
know what? I have to confess that I do write, but my husband is the prolific writer. Oh my gosh,
that's amazing.
he's a brilliant writer. He started out. He was from a little town outside of Houston, and he moved to New York and then London in after high school, and was working with a band with Paul Kossoff. I don't know if you know who that is, but he
Oh,
was the legend. He was a guitar player with Free, and he's the one that he's like one of these guys that they still have little clubs for. But he was a big
that's
English guy, and so he's been writing songs forever, and he's just brilliant. And we collaborate, of course. But I started writing when I was little bitty, of course, because if but I really focused more on learning, on working on singing and the music part. I mean, I still write some, and I've written a few things that are pretty cool, but mostly.
You've written a lot of things that are very cool, and you sing your ass off and you play your ass off, and we're just gonna put that out there because you do what you do, and it's amazing for a reason. But what's really intricate is just your attention to detail with the lyrics, what you're singing about, how into the performance you are. I mean, you kind of have all the goods when it comes to just like laying it down and throwing it out there. And
Oh.
what made you come to LA? Did you like want to come here because this is where the music industry is? Did you kind of want to get out of the humidity and just leave the
And away
expensive
from the bugs. Right. Well, that's always one of the reasons you leave the Gulf Coast is because the weather, but and the bugs. But no, you know what? I started playing in bands and stuff out of high school. I went to college for like a second, and then realized I should just be out playing.
right.
So, and I had kind of done everything I could do. I'd been working steady a lot. I had uh, solo cocktail piano in hotels and cover bands, and I always had an original band going. And when I met my husband, actually, Terry Wilson is his name, and his partner Tony Braunagel, who's also a great. My husband's a great bass player. You'll see him in the videos, and then the drummer that he had teamed up with, Tony Braunagel, who is very successful now too. And when I met them when they came through town at Christmas, they were leaving London and moving to Los Angeles, and they kept going, you need to get out of Houston. You need to get out of Houston, you know, because because everybody should go somewhere. I think,
Right.
I think it's
Sure.
just, even if you come back, it's just experience another place
Right.
that's. So just because it broadens your whole perspective on everything. But yeah, so when my original band broke up, I thought, okay, so my brother lived in New York City. And I thought, well, I could go to New York, but how do you get your gear around and how do you do your laundry and all? I just thought I don't want to be poor in New York City. You know what I mean? So
Right.
now I thought, well, I could go to Nashville, but growing up in Texas, I really wasn't into doing country at that point. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I was like,
And you
so
probably had enough of the small town experience because Nashville's even smaller than Houston,
it is. And there's amazing music coming out of Houston and always has been. And in Texas in general. But in Houston, it just seemed like everybody was just kind of content to do their little gig and write their songs and record them and leave them in their closet, whatever. And I got to say, Nikki, I've been so amazingly blessed and lucky since I came to Los Angeles.
That's awesome.
I mean, I have had the opportunity to work with so many amazing people and do such cool stuff. And just kind of by putting one foot in front of the other. I mean,
You're
you're
in the city. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to be a self-employed musician in Los Angeles, especially,
Well, it's a grind, but also you're in this amazing, colorful environment with all these talented people, and you just get to brush shoulders with your heroes. I saw that you sang with Randy Newman for one of his
I've gotten to
records.
sing on, I've sang on three or four of his sessions for
He's
movies.
one of my favorites. He's like an unbelievable songwriter.
I mean, I wore out that Good Old Boys.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think he's brilliant. And when I got the call to go and sing in the studio with him, I was just like, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. Not to mention that it was for movies, and now I get residuals for those. So that's even better.
Awesome. Yes.
You know?
And you also sang for Neil Diamond. But you know what? What's really cool is your original stuff. I mean, you can play and sing and hang with the best of them. And I want to play something just so people can get a taste of that. What do you want us to play first?
What do you think? Something lively or something quiet?
Do something lively. Let's kick the door down.
Let's think. Do you want to do
Let's do the dance one. The dance one is
you
awesome.
sure? Okay.
What's the title of it?
All I Want to Do Is Dance.
Easy breezy. Here's All I Want to Do Is Dance by Teresa James.
And check out my band, because my band is made up of amazing, crazy, amazing musicians.
Here we go.
Sooner or later, I'll get she ain't a walk in the park. Now I'm just saying, you hear what I'm trying to say. I got my Sunday shoes on. I want to twist and shout. But what if the hokey pokey really is what it's all about? You know that she don't want to think about it. It gets too deep, way too deep. And all I want to do is dance and it makes you think. Don't want to think about it, or it gets too deep, way too deep. And all I want to do, all I want to do, all I want to do is dance. I said it's all I want to do, yeah. I said I just want to dance, yeah. I just want to dance, yeah.
So slamming. I was booging the whole video until the credits. That's
That's
just
cool, man. I hadn't seen that clip in a while. That's awesome.
it's so you know what I love is like the Meters are like one of my favorite bands
Oh,
of all
you're the
time. And that's got such a Meters vibe. It's like, man, that's why I texted you. I'm like, man, your music's so killing. It sounds so NOLA, like New Orleans, like it's so greasy, it's funky, it's soulful. And my favorite lyric is, what if the hokey pokey is really what it's all about? I mean, that's a clever, clever lyric. You know, it's like what I like about that lyric is like, man, you sang that, and I was like, man, that was right under the nose. Like that's always been there, but you were the first to say it. You know what I mean?
That's
So
what,
good.
what if it is? Right.
Well, tell me about the influence. Like, tell me what made you go in the direction, or what made you write the song. Tell me about the inspiration.
Well, I love New Orleans music. I find that so inspiring. And as a piano player, you know, New Orleans, you know, when you study the blues, you've got you know, of course, Mississippi with the Delta sound, and Chicago
Yep.
with the electric guitar, you know, and then you've got, you know, every area, you know, Memphis with the horns. I mean, there's so many different things, but when you get down to New Orleans, it's always kind of started around the piano. I mean, some of the most,
Right.
Danny Barker and all those old guys that there's no footage on. You know what I mean? Obviously, New Orleans is the head, you know, at the
Do you
beginning.
know Henry Butler? I'm sure
Mhm.
you know. Do you know Henry Butler?
Yeah,
He's one of
yeah.
my favorite musicians, and I saw him only once at Jazz Fest, and I was just so blown away. He's the real deal.
And there's so many people like that
Yes.
down there that are just nobody ever knows. Are you familiar with the California Honey Drops?
Yeah, I love them.
Wow,
They're
they really nail that New Orleans, that where it just goes along and it just follows its own little path, but it gets exciting, and you know, it's, you get the feeling that it's happening right then. And to me, that is the beauty and the most exciting thing about music, is when it's happening in the moment.
right,
You know,
right.
and I think that's what bugs me about so much of the music that's out now, is it's just all pre-programmed. You know,
Yep.
it's not. There's very little room for like, whoa,
I
whoa, whoa, no, keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, well, let's go. Bridge, you know, kind of thing. You know what I
Well,
mean?
there's no life in it. It's kind of like preconceived, prepackaged. Whereas, like the music that you play and the music that I love and the music I also play, there's a life to it. It simmers. It's like you have to wait till that moment presents itself. And, you know, there's still an appetite in audiences, young and old, that love that music. Because I go to shows all the time and I see it, and it's so refreshing. But it's so weird how the machine, the media machine, is just promoting that, and it's a little bit stale to me. It's like,
Well, it is. And you know what's funny is the younger musicians coming up have no way to get exposed to that. We used to. Do you remember the piano bar in Hollywood?
yeah,
I,
that was the best.
It was the best. It was so. I mean, I was just laughing. We used to play a really great club, Cafe Cordial, which was like a really
I
nice.
love that place.
It
Yes.
was great, and they Peter really supported music, and we played there all the time. And we did a gig there like on a Sunday evening at like 8 o'clock or something, and it was kind of we had a pretty good crowd,
Right.
but it was a little misty weather, And anyway, the next night we played a midnight set at the piano bar, and it was pouring down rain, and it was packed, and it was
amazing.
But what used to get me was that all the like 20 and 30 somethings would come when we'd play, and they'd just stand in front of us like,
what is this?
What is this?
Because you can't help but take your eyes away. Like, I mean, I was watching a lot of your videos last night, and I was just like, because it's so slamming. Like I know Leon Russell has to be an influence on you. I know Professor Longhair, obviously. We talked about that. I heard a little bit of Meters. I hear a little bit of some of the guitar player guys, Freddie King. I hear some of that in some
Freddie King. Oh my God, he's the king. I love
He's my fave. He's my fave. Yes.
Well, see, you got to remember too, I grew up in Texas, and I started my music career in Texas, and the music that you hear there is just not like, I mean, how many great guitar players have come out of Texas?
The best. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Freddie King. I mean, those are all my dudes.
T-Bone Burnett. I mean, T-Bone Walker.
Yep. He's like the Hendrix influence,
Yeah. T-Bone was the guy who got the electric guitar to be the instrument of the blues.
That's very true.
And just to brag on my band, that horn section right there, I lost
Lee Thornburg and Paulie. I know Paulie. Paulie is a monster. Making music. He's a monster. Both those guys are monsters.
They are, and I lost them for a few years because they got hired to go out with Joe Bonamassa for like zillions of dollars, and that is the thing about having a band in LA, because if you want to have the best players, you have to allow them to go out on the road and make all the money. So our drum bench is so deep. That was Herman Matthews there. I don't know if
I don't know him, but his pocket is deep. It's amazing.
You need to check out Herman. He when Garibaldi had to get hip surgery from Tower Power, Herman's the first call for Tower Power every time they need a sub for.
That's amazing.
And he was with Tom John. He's been with like. His groove is
you
so
can hear
deep.
it. It's right away. That's one of the first.
You really ought to check him out because he's worked with so many people. And
where is he from? Is he from here?
He's from Houston.
That's what I figured. I was like, "There's no way he's from here," because that. There's something in the water in the South when players play like that. It just has a vibe.
It's hard to find a drummer and that can play a real Texas shuffle.
Right.
It's crazy. I taught for a while at the LA College of Music, and I
taught
the roots singing and blues, and I just remember my first, and then you have players in your class, and I was like, we were doing Tore Down, Freddie King, and I'm like, yeah, technically that's a shuffle, but
that's not a shuffle. Well, what's hard about music schools in general, like they don't know how to teach the grease. Like there's
no, they don't.
There's a special sauce that just comes with playing on the road, playing with people that you just cannot get from no matter what school you go to. It has to be get out on the road and play with as many people as you can, because that's
play with as many people as you can. Let me tell you this little story. When I first moved out from Houston, I put a little band together and stuff. And one of the first bands that I played with was a guy named Jack Bruno on drums and Paul Warren on guitar. Paul and Jack had just come off the road with Tina Turner.
Wow.
And of course I was from Houston, and I was like, oh my goodness. But Paul, who actually ended up playing with Rod Stewart for many years too, but this guy was one of the most exciting blues soloists I've ever heard in my life. We would play a slow blues, and he could solo for 8 bars, 16 bars, 30. It didn't matter how long he played. It would build and it would build and it would build. And Well, and that was the best school I ever went to, because all of a sudden I just went, I got to take the stage back. And that's when I started like,
Right.
just
Right.
really going for it. And I mean, it was amazing. After about a year or so, I took the band down to Houston and we played. And I had so many of my musician friends there going, "What have you been doing, man? Holy crap."
You're like,
You
I've
know?
been shedding. I've been shedding like crazy.
I just said, I'm just trying to keep up, man. That's what I'm doing,
Well, it's that iron sharpens iron. Like somebody told me a long time ago when I was starting my band, they're like, be the worst one in your band.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, that's the best
exactly
advice, because you just get better faster, and they make me the player that I am. They make me the musician I am, and it's because I'm just always looking up to them to keep up. It's like that's so much of it.
That's how you learn, man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh gosh, I know I've been so lucky, and I've had Herman. Herman's been in my band. I mean, we've had a lot of, like I said, my drum bench is super deep because.
Who else do you have in this drum bench? I want to know.
What's that?
Who else do you have in the drum bench?
We have Tony Bronigal, who's also like we're doing a gig next week, and he was going to do it, but he's going out with Taj Mahal instead.
Wow.
I mean, he plays with Taj, he plays with Blues Brothers, he played with Ricky Lee Jones, he played with Bonnie Raitt.
Crazy.
The Time album, the big Grammy, we have him. We have Jay Bellerose. I don't know if you know Jay, but
no.
Oh my gosh, he's kind of from a different school. He's T-Bone Burnett's #1 call for everything that he ever does.
Wow.
He tours with Alison Krauss and Robert Plant.
Yeah, I just saw them. At the Greek. They're amazing. That band it's like the Americana of Americana. I don't think many people can touch that sound and that style,
No, I don't think so. Yeah. So, but Jay is just a monster. We've who else we use, like our old drummer Jim Christie. I mean, it's just I'm blanking. I know I'm forgetting.
Your husband's playing bass, right?
Yes.
He is a vicious bass player. I mean, there's a reason why you're getting great drummers, because man, he lays it down. There's no question about it. And he's singing harmonies. I mean, that ain't easy. It's like, well, I generally try to make sure none of my bass players are singing harmonies. So I'm like, you just lay it down, because that's all I want you to do, to make sure that nothing gets compromised. But when I see cats doing both, I'm like, man, that is not easy. You know what I mean?
No, you know what? That's funny though, because one of my rules, it's not really a rule, but kind of, is because I rarely ever give the drummer a microphone, not because of them not singing, but just because they talk too much. I love that you said that. This is like disrupting the show, dude.
Right.
Not really. Oh, and Richard Millsap is another drummer that we use, who
he's an LA
touring
guy
with John Fogerty right now.
That's right. And so you probably know Bob Malone. Bob Malone just played on my last record.
I do. And Richard's actually my son-in-law. So
that's crazy.
It's just like, that's what we were laughing when I always said, seriously, you're marrying a drummer? Come on. I thought I raised you better than that, but we were laughing, saying, what if she'd have married a bad drummer? Oh my God.
Oh, that would be bad. That'd be a tough Thanksgiving. That'd be a tough Thanksgiving dinner.
Like, well, Richard's open, you need a drummer.
Well, let's play something else. What do you want to play next?
Let's do Give Me a Holler. You know what? Can I just set this up a little bit?
Yeah, please.
This song was on our Grammy nominated album. The album's called Here in Babylon. And
congrats, by the way. That is not easy. An independent artist getting a Grammy nomination.
We didn't have any kind of label support. We did not
crazy.
we still don't have a manager. We didn't. I mean, it was me. And in fact, when we got the nomination, it was me and Terry sitting on the bed putting Grammy stickers on each CD.
That's awesome.
So yeah, no, I'm really, really, really proud of that. Of course, it was kind of a crazy thing, but this particular video was during the pandemic, during the shutdown, when you couldn't really be where you are. But this was our entry to the Tiny Desk contest. Are you
that's cool. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in that NPR, whatever it is. But yeah, so we had the horn players actually played from home.
Wow.
And sent that in. And then we had, like, Herman was set up at the back of our living room, and we were all like 12 feet apart. It was It was crazy, but I've always really liked this song. And this is much more casual video. This is just in my living room. So
Well, I love it. Here's "Give Me a Holler" by Teresa James and the Rhythm Tramps.
awesome.
Works. We're running?
Here we go, yeah. Here we go, do like studio. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Have you ever had to dig deep down just to get through the moment where nothing seemed to go your way? At least nothing that seems important. Well, my day's been going like that. I got started on the wrong track. I can't think of nothing much to do. Give me a holler if you wanna do it too. If you're having that kind of day too. I've never been much for Nietzsche. What don't kill you makes you strong. You know it never made me feel that peachy, but I got him in this song. Well, I don't think much about it, but maybe I should try it a bit. I can't think of nothing else to do, so give me a holler. Oh, if you wanna do it too. Yeah, if you wanna do it too. Is there anything that's alright? You got anything in your sights that's working for you? Yeah, won't you bring me that might excite? The blame that you might sacrifice. That won't make you so blue. Have you ever had to dig deep down just to make it through the day? Well, everything that you try, it just seems like there's always way too much stuff in your way. Well, maybe it's something you do, a negative notion thing. Won't you try something positive? Try giving it a holler. Oh, won't you see what that brings? If your day's been going like that, if it all seems a little out of whack, and not sure what to do, give me a holler. Yeah, 'cause I wanna do it too. I wanna have that kind of day with you. video right there.
So slamming. Did you do the tiny desk? You should have if you haven't.
No, they didn't pick us.
You know what? This is what is garbage about the industry. It's like, who watches that and goes, nah? I mean, it's crazy good. That is such a great song, such a great groove, such a great sound. Man, when are you playing next? I got to come see you play.
You do. You know what? We're playing on the 22nd, which is the night before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
At the Write-Off Room, the new Write-Off Room. Are you familiar with that place? It's in Studio City.
Okay. All right. I'm real close. I'm in Koreatown, so I'm gonna definitely have to come to that.
Oh yeah. No, it's an awesome club. It's a musician opened it. A friend of ours, Bill Lynch. He had it open before the pandemic out on Topanga, just in the little strip mall. And then of course it shut down, but I don't know how long you've been in the Valley, but Oil Can Harry's, do you remember Oil Can Harry's?
No,
It was,
no.
you probably wouldn't. It's an old drag bar, gay bar, but it was there for like 40 years. It was a real landmark in the neighborhood. And they bought the building and they turned it into a really great sound, really, really nice little club.
Wow. I'm going to definitely, what time are you playing?
We play at 8.
I'll be there. Night before Thanksgiving, I will be there.
And I got the horn guys. We don't get to play with our horn guys all the time, because.
I know that feeling because
you know what?
I have a horn section.
I do not ask my guys to play for nothing. You know what I mean? We've all been there and done that. And you see Lee Thornburg moved to Florida. That was Daryl Leonard on that. And he's my trumpet player, and he and Paulie arrange all our horn parts now. But
that's amazing. Well,
Daryl is awesome. He was with Taj and the Blues Brothers. He actually goes back to Delaney. Delaney and Bonnie.
Wow, really? So you played with Clapton?
Yeah, he's played with everybody.
Clapton's like one of my favorites. I just went to Crossroads and just was nerding out on all the great guitar players, from Albert Lee to Taj Mahal to. I mean, it's just.
Oh, I know.
It's amazing. All those cats.
It is amazing. And you know what's funny? Because my son's a musician now, as much as we tried to discourage him.
That's what happens. It's in the water. See? It's in the water and in the genes.
Right. But I remember when he was like 9 or 10, and I heard him and his buddies talking about who's the best guitar player. Hendrix, no. Clapton, no. Jimmy Page. And it was just like, and I'm like, dude, don't you have anybody now that you can go, There's nobody in the running now.
It's just not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were the best of the best, drawing from the best of the best. Do you know who John Primer is?
Yes.
So John Primer was just on my radio show 2 weeks ago, but the week before that, we actually called him and I said, yo, I want to do a session with you. I want to do this video session with you. And he was on tour through LA, but I was going to be out of town when he was going to be in LA. So we did a session in San Luis Obispo at some random studio. Wow. And it was so cool. He just showed up with a harmonica player and he was telling my rhythm section, okay, this is how I want you to play this Muddy Waters tune. It was like, I was in heaven. It was like a chess record session. I was like, this is what it's all about. They just don't make blues artists like this anymore. And that's why all those guitar greats were the guitar greats, still will be the guitar greats. No one's ever going to come close to that because there's something about that era of musicians and that attention to detail and the lightning in their playing and all the players that, Muddy Waters, the Stones, all these guys just had it. You know what I mean? So, and you come from that era. You have the same thing. There's a fire in your play.
Well, it's because, and there's a lot of great music right now. I know there is, and a lot of great players. But it feels like all of us from back then, I mean, it's just like you work really hard at learning your instrument.
Right.
And that's the one thing I've been obsessed with, learning everything that my voice can do. I mean, I do a lot of country sessions.
That's awesome.
In fact, the people I sing country for, I think, really? You do other stuff? But
I mean,
the country and blues.
Do it all,
Well, I think it's important because, and it's just like when I was teaching my classes, it was like, guys, I hope that every single one of you has a huge career doing exactly what you want to do.
Right.
But if you want to make your living as a musician, I mean, I've done so many recording sessions where you run it down and they go, "That's really cool, but could you do it more like this? Could you
Right.
add a little more rasp? Could you take the rasp away? Could you give it some more vibrato? Could you it's just like it's an instrument.
Right.
Singers, it's just like every other instrument, horn players, guitar, bass, drums, whatever, they have to study their instrument
Right.
to learn it. Singers, you open your mouth and it sounds pretty good. So you're like, okay, let's go. You know what I
Well,
mean?
the other thing too, it's like with I always kind of marvel at this with singing. So I was singing a lot as a kid. I did a lot of background work.
Oh,
And
cool.
I actually sang at the Grammy Awards when Bonnie Raitt won all those awards, and I was like so hoping I'd meet
How
her.
old were you?
I
Because
was,
that
I
was,
was 11. I was 11 years old.
say,
I
that
was
was
a
a
kid.
long time ago.
I was a kid, but you know what? What's crazy is like you would watch people, and if they came down one stairwell, we'd meet them. So I like met Motley Crue and like all these like
Well,
Billy Joel, but Bonnie Raitt kept on going down the other staircase. So I was like, man, I gotta meet this person because she was just killing it, and she was just like the winner of winners. And I recently saw her play because I'd never seen her live, and it was just so amazing. I know you get references to her all the time because you're playing blues and you got the red hair and you're also slamming. But have you ever crossed paths with her, made music with her? Because you and she would be incredible in a studio together. Like that just
you know
has to
what?
happen.
That's funny. That's funny that you would say that because when I first was starting out here in Los Angeles, a lot of my friends were in her band. So
Wow.
I met her way on. In fact, when my daughter was born, she gave me a baby gift. I mean, we
That's
go
amazing.
way back. But it's funny that you would say that because one night it was I don't know if you wouldn't have known him. My friend Marty Greb, who we lost a few years ago, but he played keyboards in her band and he worked with Rick. He was great, but there was I can't remember if it was a gig or I think he just had a party and we were all there and it ended up with me and Bonnie. It was before she got into the program. We were all hanging out and she said, Teresa, we should get together and we should work up a bunch of old Beatles songs like Love Me Do. How awesome would that be? And I was like, this was before the Grammy thing, and I was like, yes, we should. We absolutely should, and then like the next year, this when she won all the Grammys and she got busy. But the next time I ran into her, she said, I just want to say I'm sorry that, but things are crazy now. But I really did mean that. That would be really fun to do. So
Well, maybe it'll happen. You
I
never
should
know.
corral her now because she's a neighbor to another really good friend of mine up in Northern California. And I don't think she's, she takes a lot of time off. I should go, hey, Bonnie, let's get together.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm gonna be honest with you. I love her music. I think she's great, but I think you can write and sing and play a tune around her. Let me tell you,
Oh, thanks. Well,
you got some chops.
no, that's very sweet. My thing is, I just take a lot more chances singing than she does.
Yep.
I
And you
tend
hear it.
to, at this point, you reach a certain age and a certain point in your career and especially, I mean, I have a lot more leeway because I'm not famous. You know what I mean? So I can try something, and if it doesn't work, it's like, whatever. You
Right.
know what I mean? But I tend to always, go for that extra note, go for that extra lick, or whatever. Just and then if I don't make it, I guess I'm pro enough that I know how to gracefully
Well, I
turn it
find
into
that
something
I
else.
I have to do that to make it interesting to me to perform. Like
Exactly.
always looking for that. I'm always looking for the new melody in a song that I've written and sung for years or a new lick. I'm always going for it. And it's like you're going to miss sometimes, not necessarily like the execution, but it's like the idea is not going to form, or sometimes it's just going to be there. And then, I mean, that's why I record shows all the time. I'm always like changing melodies or like finding new licks or something because I'm like, I want to find it. I want to constantly find it. And I never really talk about that, but I love that you said that because I'm always mining for those notes when I perform.
See,
So
that makes I'm really happy to hear you say that because to me it's just like, and anybody can sing a song right
right.
and have it sound fine,
Yeah.
But to me, my whole thing is I always want to be in the moment.
Yes.
And I can't tell you so many times when you, and I bet you know that feeling when you like, you're singing and all of a sudden it's like you do something and you go, whoa, what was that, man? I hope I remember that. That was so much fun. That was so much fun,
Yes. Yes. No, I mean, it's what I love too. It's like when you find these licks, it's really a lick or a new way to sing a melody. Those are
A different phrase.
different phrase. I'm like constantly mining for those in a song that I've sung. Even if it's a new song, I'm like, where's the melody going? But I also find that like sometimes I have to like hone it in when you're doing a live recording or you're doing a live, like you did that video, and it's like, what kind of place are you in when you're in that?
I was just gonna say, when I was listening to All I Want to Do Is Dance, I was laughing at how tame it was.
Right.
It's normally
you get all the notes. Right.
But the point is always for me isn't even always just to try something new or whatever, but to find, to bring out at that moment, because every gig you do, every time you sing, every situation you're in, it's a different experience and you're with different people and the audience is different. And so how do I bring out the essence of this song and the feeling, and how do I make the most emotional impact, or not necessarily emotional, but how do I, in that moment, what would be the coolest thing to do?
Well,
obviously it's not I'm not thinking that, but I'm just like in that vibe of like, okay, cool. These people like lively. I'm going to start doing some really fast phrasing things, cut the notes off, make them sharper, whatever, just.
The audience inspires it too, and I know, like, before we play another song of yours, I want to give you a huge compliment. Like, one of the things I look for in an artist or a performer or, a musician, all these things, is if music is flowing through them, because you can feel that, and there's no like, you can't fake it. You just can't fake it. Music flows through you, Teresa. I mean, it is who you are. It is what you are. And that is what is inspiring, because I look for those people all the time, and you have it. You have all those things. So I'm definitely going to see you the day before Thanksgiving.
Oh, good.
There's nothing going to be more cool than to see that. But what do you want to play us next? Let's play a song for you.
Well, let's do The Day the Blues Came to Call, because that's a really good example of this. Can I just tell you this really quick story?
Yeah, please.
It's so weird, Nikki. Lately, all these different opportunities have come up just through my web. I got an email from through my website about this young hip hop rapper dude from South Carolina. Little Man J is his name.
Okay.
He's a big fan of this next song. Somehow he found it. And he wrote, the first line of this song is, there are certain songs that remind you of people you have known, right? And the song is actually about Greg Allman when he died.
Oh, I love that.
His singing was just so awesome. And he and Lil Man J wrote a song called A Certain Song. And he sampled our song, and it runs all the way through his song. And it starts with our track, and it's just like, it's just so random for us. It's just like,
let's do it. We're gonna play a clip of it because we're running out of time. But
yeah, that's what I thought.
Here's The Day the Blues Came Calling by Teresa James and the Rhythm Tramps.
There's certain songs that remind you of people you've known, that take us back to places you and I both have gone. And there's voices when you hear them, can make you laugh and make you cry. The memories that linger, come and go by and by. The good times and the bad, they touch us one whipping post it was. Yeah, first time I heard him sing, and that voice that reached me deep down. Ooh, yeah, man, he could sing anything. I didn't know yet who I was hearing. I didn't know the brothers or the band. I just knew that what they were bringing, the heart and soul, I understand. And now I hear that he joined his brother. Yeah, he gave the world his arms. The day the blues came knocking, the day the blues come to call. The heart and the soul, I understand. Oh, yeah. Baby, he heard Dwayne say, brother, today's your day. And the voice that reached me deep down, moved on to higher ground. The day the blues came to one and all. The day the blues came to call. Ooh, yeah, the day the blues came. Yeah, the blues came to one and all. Yeah, yeah, the day the blues came to call.
So good, we had to play it all the way through, Teresa. That was
Oh,
amazing.
thank you. Can I just really quick give a shout out to my guitar player, Billy Watts?
Absolutely, yeah.
He is the
Slamming solo.
perfect guitar player. He just plays exactly what you want to hear.
I can hear it. I think all of you guys do. But where can people find you online if they want to find your music? They want to find shows. Where can people find you?
Probably my website is the best. TeresaJames.com is,
And that's
and I'm on Instagram. I'm Teresa James Music on Instagram. I'm not on TikTok. I just don't have that much energy to.
I get it. I hate all social media, if you want to know the truth. So
I am
I'm envious of you.
but yeah. Luckily, a lot of people post my music on my website, and
Well, that's amazing.
on my Facebook, of course. Facebook.
Well, we've got to do a show together. I've got a blues trio. We've definitely got to do some shows
Let's
together.
do.
I would love to play with you. You're just amazing. And
I gotta tell you, this has been one of the most fun interviews I've ever had.
Oh, you just made my whole day.
I can tell we're coming from the same exact place. So
Absolutely. Well, we're going to make some music. We're going to do some recordings. We're going to do some shows. You have my word and you have it on tape. On behalf of Teresa James, Sam, and myself, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, Teresa, for being a guest on Wake Up Hollywood. You have an open door to be on this show anytime you got something to showcase. So thank you so much.
I really appreciate you having me.
Well, you're a wonderful musician, and check out her music, TeresaJames.com, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace and love.
You're listening to Wake Up Hollywood with Nikhil Korula and Eddie Pence, right here on LA Talk Radio.